Hey guys, Mel Milton here. Thanks for dropping in. Welcome to Dook Log 002. Yeah, I know if you've been subscribed to my channel, it's been a while since I've done a video. And so today I guess that's what I'll tackle while I talk over this. So first off, again, if you don't know who I am, I'm Mel Milton. On Instagram, I'm Mel Made Dukes. And on Facebook, I just use my personal account, Mel Milton. So yeah, why did it take so long to do another video? It's not like I didn't want to do one. And if you've ever dealt with me in person, you know I'm an overthinker. I think so much into it. Back in 2000, when I decided to take the steps to be a so-called professional artist, that excitement that I had, I didn't really think into it because I had no other, in my mind, I had no other choice but to be that, that artist. I didn't care about, becoming a great artist. I just wanted to be good enough to get a job and work somewhere and feel good about myself. And I thought by doing that, I could, by taking care of my family and doing something that I love, that it would find me this specific happiness that I was looking for, like my whole life. So, I made that decision. Like, well, why not go for that? Even though at that time, in my mind, it was like, I don't have the education, I don't have the formal training, I didn't know anybody, and so it became, overwhelming. And one of the reasons why I didn't make the choice early on was because of those reasons. But when I met my wife, it was, I want to do something, that's outside of myself. And that when I do have kids, that, I could go back and tell them, do the things that you love, and it's well worth it. That's what I wanted to be able to accomplish. And that was back in 2000, and it took me 3 years to get my foot in the door. And it wasn't even as an art, like the artist I wanted to be. I got my foot in the door as an interface designer for video games. So it wasn't really what I had intended, but I got my foot in the door. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I look at the way I made decisions back then as opposed to now, right? And I'm always, especially like with my art, I've always been trying to figure out how to replicate it, how to, create the same feeling, and it's not that way. Each picture I've done is, what I've learned at this point is each picture that I work on is a mini version of the bigger goal, that big goal, to be that artist. So, I'd like to say I came up with new goals for 2020, but my goal, I think, is exactly the same as it was when I went, and left the studio life and came to be on my own. I did that about 7 years ago, making the decision, to watch my daughter grow up. And the first part of that, coming home on my own, was quite scary. And I remember just, seeing my daughter and going, man, I just want the world for her, and all the worry and all the stress and the overthinking. And I noticed that I was faltering as an artist, because I wanted, again, this idea of being this artist and taking care of my family, and I put so much pressure on it. But when I let that go, when I looked at her and saw that she could feel that stress, as a child, she could feel that stress, and it was just, I didn't want her to see that. I wanted her to see that, her dad could be happy. And so I changed the way I looked at my art in that moment. I said, instead of thinking of it like, I need that job and that was the thing to make me better, I said, I want to show her that I can be happy. And so I poured myself into my art in a different way. It wasn't, oh, I need to, impress somebody, or it was just be me, go back to the reason why I loved it so much. And it was freeing. It was, in that time, I grew more as an artist than I had, my whole entire career. And so it was being able to see that it was much more than the money, and it was much more than that. But to see the look, my daughter gets excited about, wanting to be an artist, and I don't tell her these things. She jumps right into it. She jumps in with the excitement that I used to have about it. And I noticed over time at a job that I didn't have that same spark. I couldn't figure out why I had lost it. So, move on to today. I got to a good point, but again, I noticed, getting to a point now where it's like I still have that I want to grow, but, the challenges come into play. And, making a video, well, hold on, let me back up. I went and taught the last 2 years, and I always wanted to teach, and it was amazing to me to get the opportunity to teach. If any of my former students are listening, I apologize. Because again, but the thing is I taught the way I wanted to teach. And with these videos I don't want to, it's like I want to give somebody something of value, but then I realized, it was the same way I was thinking when I started my career. I wasn't really doing it for myself. I was doing it because of the idea, rather than saying, why, so for teaching, I've learned that it's much more than the techniques. And I don't want to just give out techniques. I don't want to because there's a whole lot more to it, right? Like the individual drawings, so we're going to get back to what each of these drawings were as a mini version of the bigger journey, right? So at the beginning of the drawing, if you looked at the beginning of this drawing, every stroke was just painful to watch in the beginning. There's a lot of faltering, there's a lot of trying to figure out. And as you go through that process, I think usually I feel good about a drawing about halfway through. And even then, it still doesn't feel like I want it. There's still in the negotiation to try to make it become something that makes me feel happy. It's that searching. It's that I grunt a lot as I draw, and there's that frustration. But at some point, it becomes that thing I wanted. Now, it doesn't become exactly what I wanted, but it becomes something that I'm like, okay, I learned something from it. Now, I call all my work poop. So Dook's, is short for Dookie. And so I have a lot of people, like, why do you call your work, poop? And that's the thing. It's all of them will always feel like that. But when I get to the end of it, there's this massive celebration. Like, it wasn't really about that one picture. It was about that I did something. I stuck to it for myself, not for anybody else. I stuck with it because when I go to the heart of what each image is, it's a gift to myself. It's the way that makes me feel good, that I'm showing myself I care about myself. But if I look over that whole picture, 2/3 of it is painful. It's not what I expected. But there's that 1/3 that's magical. That's like I did it. It's not about the quality of it. It's not about how many likes it gets. It's more about that I stuck with it. And so that's why I'm saying it's like the bigger part of the journey. So, doing this video, I've done one before, and I was like, why am I having such a hard time making these videos? Because, I look and I'm like, well, I could give techniques, I could talk about things, things that I've learned over time. It's like, that's what I want to go by. But in the same sense, part of me is like, these sped up videos don't really show when I fall. They don't show the moments where I'm like, I want to give up. I'm not doing that. I didn't even want to post this video. This was really a test video the first time I, started it. And, I was like, okay, the machine handled it all right because I'm on an older machine. And I went to the next one. I was like, I'm not going to even post this one. But I also wanted to be able to, post more. So I noticed the way I post, just the drawings, that's the way I handle it. I know that you can pick it apart. There's something wrong with it. And, oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. And I do that to myself, but in the same sense, I know I'm happy because I did it my way. And so speaking over this, I was going to make this and I was like, I'll put the music on and let it go. But I wanted to speak on it. So that's the thing, is that's what I want, be honest with myself and go, what adds value to me, more so, because I know I can't grow if I try to make it valuable for somebody else without it being valuable to myself. And so, I wanted to speak on that. I wanted to be able to talk about, that it's, man, after that first video, I beat myself up pretty well, and even though people were saying, hey, thanks for doing that, to me, I was just going through the motions. I was, talking about my experiences with the program, and the things that I was fumbling on, but I didn't really tell anything that I thought would be valuable. And so this video, I think with each progressing video that I do on these, hopefully I'll grow that value. So I appreciate you coming by. My goal is, and always has been, to be that artist I would like to have met. And so I know this video isn't perfect, and I know I could have done things a whole lot better, but for the most part, I know that this was a step in that journey, a smaller step in a bigger path, right? It's just the one step, but each step, means something, regardless if I failed, regardless if I thought I was poop, as long as my goal is still to become that artist. Do I think I'll ever meet that artist? No. And that's the fun of it. That's the thing is like, I know there's always something to grow. That's the thing to be excited about. There's those moments where you get to be, holy crap, I just figured something out. A different way of looking at things. And this video, as I watch it, this is the fourth time I've recorded this dang audio, and I actually was, struggling with how can I make this, genuine. And so the first take I took, I had a dialogue with my daughter, and I was going to put her in and then just have a conversation about being an artist with her, and it was fun, but I think she was really nervous, and so I may do that in the future, but that one's, I'm glad I did it because I have that backed up on another version of this, and I may do that in future ones because, to listen to her talk about being an artist, with that excitement is it takes me back. So I may do that later on, but for now I have no idea which way I'm gonna go with it, but I'll moving forward, if there's things that you'd want to hear about, until I can figure out where it is that I'm going with these, I'm just gonna make them just like my posts. I'm just gonna post them up like it's just an exercise in being me, and then just being able to listen to, what my thinking was like. I keep a journal and I write everything down because I always like to think about how I handle things, and where I feel like I failed and things that have helped me along the way. So that's what this is going to be. If that doesn't work for you, you can always shut. I don't. Again, I don't. If I did just the music, I probably wouldn't do these. I feel like I do myself I do nothing for myself or not add value, and I do want to evolve to that next step. So for those of you who have been following me on social media and people who've been here and have been waiting patiently, I'm grateful for you. It helps a lot knowing that there's people that show me the kindness to help me overcome the insecurities that I have, and and I appreciate everything everybody's given me up until this point as an artist. I'm super grateful, for making the decision to continue to be this artist, to keep on keeping on. That's what these things are, and I appreciate you being here with me. And I wish you guys all the best in the new year. And there's more to come. I've already recorded a bunch of other videos, so they're on their way. Until the next one, I appreciate you. Keep on keeping on.